Yeah, and your
So-
capacity for empathy towards people, period, is different than most. And like
Yeah.
we've worked through that. I mean, I'm a freaking marriage and family therapist, so it's like I'm obviously more wired towards empathy and being present with people and their pain. And you're more of like, let's figure out how we can fix this and then move on.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting juxtaposition between the two of us, and it's taken time and it's taken a lot of intention and effort in our marriage to get to a place where we find balance and where we can work together towards still feeling empathy, but also having, I mean, sometimes therapists can get a little crazy too.
Well, yeah. How do you navigate that in your relationship, being a professional at that, and not trying to bring like a professional reaction to the way that Ty is being, or his desensitivity?
Nice, dude. Dropping bombs, desensitivity.
I don't even know if it's
Come
a
on,
word.
son.
Yes.
Desensitization? There we
See,
go.
I didn't even say it right, dude.
Both of those words are way
It's
over
much
my
better.
head, dude. Numb.
Yeah, like how would you? I feel like it would be so hard if I were in a relationship to be with somebody who was, therapizing me. But I don't know. I doubt you are, because you don't seem like the type of person that would just be like, well, I know that the diagnosis for what you're dealing with is this thing or that thing, and I think you probably addressed it from a very empathetic place, and also from like a loving place, because he's your husband and you want to care for him and actually help him in a different way. Like, what are those different ways that you would address a husband and a person that you love and a client?
Yeah, versus some like a nutcase like me.
Or me.
You're giving me a lot of credit, Jules, which I appreciate. But in the beginning, I mean, I think my first semester was all theory. And I was so caught up in the theory of everything and so fascinated with just diagnosing people that I started diagnosing everybody in my circle. And it was so unhealthy. I mean, I would do it to Tyler all the time, where I was like, you're just in this state of wallowing in your lack of secure attachment, and just like throwing shit at him. And I'm like, you were so gracious with me, but he literally coined the term therapizing. He goes, you need to stop therapizing me and you need to just be with me. And so that shifted, and it took probably like a year and a half after I graduated of like, okay, everybody's human. We all have our stuff, and diagnosis and all of that, it has a place in the world for sure. But more than anything, being present with people and understanding their pain and understanding what they need is the most healing and beneficial thing that you can do for somebody's mental health. So same thing in our marriage of just like, I can't look at him like, a client or a patient that I need to diagnose. More so he's my husband and he has needs like all of us. And
Like psychology is really interesting to me. Well, I'm not a very smart person, Teddy, but I think about like having a degree in psychology, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, the brain, we still know very little about the brain, right? I mean, from like a black and white diagnosable angle, it's. Am I right in saying that?
oh yeah,
that it's still
a very
still,
young profession,
right?
Yeah.
Is it difficult to deal with human beings who have? Because how am I going to put this? Sometimes my issues that I have that present themselves in specifically relationships is because I had like too many drinks the night before, or I am stressed about money, or how clean my house is. Like, there's all these things that kind of inform and counteract my like mental peace. Is that difficult as a professional to like dig into what those things are versus just being like, okay, well, this is obviously a bipolar human being who just has no real grasp on reality, versus like, you kind of just need to wake up and make your bed, dude, and you'll be fine. Is there even a question in there, Jules? Can you cut me off real quick so that our guests don't leave?
Get out.
Did that make sense?
No, I think I understand. There's a part of psychology that you can get very caught up in. And it's just looking at kind of going back to the whole diagnosing thing, where you look at somebody from like the DSM, you know, and you're like, okay, what are the
What's the
presenting?
DSM?
What does DSM mean?
It's the diagnosis manual that we go off of.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Which
So-
is now like 10,000
It's
pages.
huge. It's so huge.
Oh, wow.
Just an encyclopedia for
Yes. Yeah. And so you
Issues.
can come from that place, and it's not a great place to come from. I mean, there are obviously chemical imbalances and things that people really do need to address and they need medication for. But more than anything, it's just important to see all of us as human beings and being able to kind of get to the root of, I mean, I practice from what's, you know, essentially an attachment theory. So it's like, how do we get people to be able to get to a place where they can feel secure enough with other human beings and have secure attachments? Because when we have secure attachments with others, we are able to be healthier people and more whole and well. So that's the whole like premise that I work from. And when you do that, it's easier to look at people as humans than it is just a patient. And so like external things, I mean, we all have shit in our lives and things it's constantly consuming us and going on. But if you can kind of look past those things and look internal and say, okay, what's the core of actually like the anxiety, the depression? I mean, Jules and I were talking, I think, before we started, but looking at the core of the issue rather than all of the pressures, the external pressures, the things that we, you know, it's easy to pinpoint and say, it's this, it's this, it's this. And it's like, no, I think it's a lot deeper than that. So it's just being intentional with those questions and asking and provoking those things. And it's not normal, it's not comfortable to get vulnerable.
Right.
It isn't. That's not like the norm to go up to somebody and be like, how's your heart, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Oh, boo-boo, did you just make it to the end of the video? Yes, you did. Do you want to see more videos just like this one? Huh? Do you?
Well, then head over to patreon.com/live at the lodge, where you can support the How Good's of this podcast, as well as the entire Live at the Lodge family.
Yep, yeah, you're going to get exclusive merch, personalized shout-out videos. Me and Jules, we're going to show up at your house and baptize your nephew, huh? Check it out, patreon.com/live at the lodge.